An investigator does not enter a house expecting the house to explain itself. A house offers fragments, a device, a locked door, a false identification card, a missing person's name, a video file that forces detectives to stop, rewind, and look again. In Philadelphia's Olney neighborhood, investigators searching a home on West Chew Avenue recovered an enormous amount of digital material. Police would later say some of that material appeared to show two women who had been missing for years, alive at one point and apparently deceased later. But there were no bodies, no medical examiner's finding of cause of death, no public homicide charge, just evidence investigators believe may hold answers families have been waiting years to receive. The job is not to be shocked. The job is to preserve the evidence, to identify every face, to trace every file, to find out who entered that home, who left it, and what happened in the time in between. Because in an investigation like this, the truth may not be buried in one room. It may be hidden in hundreds of thousands of files. This is the investigation at 417 West Chew Avenue. Hey friends, welcome back to Coffee and Crime with Mom, where we sit down over coffee and talk through true crime cases with care, facts, and real conversation. I'm Nicole, Mom.
And I'm Zaylee. Thank you for being here with us.
Before we get into today's case, take just a second to subscribe to Coffee and Crime with Mom wherever you're listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, like this video, and turn on those notifications so you do not miss an episode.
And please leave us a comment. Had you heard about the Chew Avenue investigation before today? What part of the publicly reported evidence stood out to you most?
We do ask that you keep the comments respectful. This is an active case. Real families are involved, and some of them may be hearing new information about their loved ones in real time.
Sharing, liking, subscribing, and commenting helps more people find our channel. We appreciate every single one of you who chooses to spend your coffee time with us. Coffee.
Today's story includes missing women, potentially disturbing digital evidence, alleged weapons and false credential offenses, and an ongoing death investigation. Please take care of yourself while listening. Today we are discussing a developing investigation in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, centered on a residence at 417 West Chew Avenue in the Olney section of the city. The property became the focus of a wide-ranging search after the June arrest of a man associated with the home, 44-year-old Eugene Horsch. Authorities say the investigation expanded after police recovered electronic devices and other evidence from the property.
And we need to establish a few facts before we go any further. Police say they found digital evidence that appeared to show two women who had been missing for years, Maribel Fresses and Gabrielle Amarando, deceased inside the Chew Avenue house. But police have not recovered either woman's body.
And because their bodies have not been recovered, authorities have not publicly established a cause or manner of death. They have opened what they describe as a death investigation.
The person associated with the house, Eugene Horsch, is in federal custody. He has not been charged with causing the woman's apparent deaths, and he has not been charged in connection with their disappearances.
And that distinction is not technicality. It is the truth of where this case stands right now. This episode is about the known timeline, the evidence police have publicly described, the women at the heart of the story, and the questions investigators are still trying to answer. The reported starting point for the Chew Avenue investigation was not the house itself. It was an encounter in Center City, Philadelphia. On June 19th, 2026, whose birthday? A park ranger reportedly responded to a disturbance involving Eugene Horsch and a woman in a parked vehicle near the 600 block of Market Street, close to Independence Mall.
According to the reporting on the police investigation, Horsch allegedly had credentials identifying him as a federal law enforcement officer and DEA officer. Authorities determined the credentials were false. I mean, if you've seen the man's face, that's all you needed to determine that they were false.
They knew it was false.
Nobody gave him any kind of federal credentials at all.
They said, sir, if you have
look
fake
like a
DEA
suspect.
credentials,
Immediately upon seeing you. Guilty. We're not sure what crime you committed yet, but you're guilty of something, sir.
At
We
least
know it.
one of them.
At least some crime.
Ooh,
Somewhere out there
ooh,
you've committed some kind of crime.
jaywalking something. You done did some
You
shady
done
shit.
something.
Okay. Police also reported that the arrest led to allegations involving firearms, narcotics, and false federal credentials. A federal grand jury later indicted Horsch on one count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and one count related to possession of an unlawfully produced document and authentication features.
So to be clear, the federal case concerns alleged weapons and fraudulent document offenses. It is not, at least publicly, and as of this recording, a homicide case.
Correct. But the arrest gave investigators a reason to look more closely at the Chew Avenue home. And once they did, the investigation grew very quickly. This first clip is a local news report explaining the June incident and the allegations that led to Horsch's arrest. As you watch, remember, these are allegations and charges, not a conviction.
This all started last Friday at 6 and Market when a park ranger said he saw a man and a woman fighting in a car. They say they found guns, drugs, and fake DEA credentials, plus an ID in the car from a missing woman. Now that led to the arrest of a man, and then that led police here to Chew Avenue. Police say this investigation revolves around this man, 44-year-old Eugene Horsch, a man arrested last week for weapons and guns charges, stemming from a fight in a car with a woman on 6th and Market. That then led them to the house on the 400 block of West Chew Avenue.
The moment authorities allegedly found false credentials is important because it raised immediate questions about identity, access, and what else investigators might uncover if they searched the home connected to him.
When police searched the home on West Chew Avenue, they reported finding a range of items that expanded the scope of their inquiry. Authorities publicly described recovering firearms-related evidence, ammunition, narcotics, numerous digital devices, and chemicals.
And chemicals.
And, well, hold on, don't go anywhere. And when we
Where I'm
watched the
going.
clip, shut up. This is for the recording. And when we watched the clip of one of the police officers at a news, thing where he was talking to the news people, and he said, "It's dark. It's dark." Like he sounded like I don't know what they saw, but it's some horrible stuff.
No, when they were saying it, he was like, "Yeah, I can't. I'm not going into details."
Yeah, I'm
It
not
was
doing it.
bad. Yeah. Okay. And that is where this becomes a difficult case to talk about responsibly because people hear a list like that and jump immediately to the worst possible conclusion. I'm people. And then
Also,
I also saw the man and then heard the police's response. So, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. But investigators do not get to jump. They have to test every substance, trace every item, authenticate every file, and establish what is connected, what is not connected, and what can actually be proven. And what made the chemicals stand out was from his dad, who did all
hmm
that weird stuff.
yeah, he
And
made
they
like
were
weird
saying,
videos,
yeah, like porno videos, but like, they're like on the verge of,
violent. Yeah.
yeah. And then they said that the chemicals he had at the house, they looked it up, and if you mix them together, they could be used to get rid
Mm,
of those
of
who do not
things.
walk amongst us anymore.
Okay, guys, this is for some reason Zayla and I are loopy today. We're trying to be serious, but
I was the most serious when I said it.
okay.
Those no longer in this realm or of this world. Ain't that how they say it? Those who have passed.
Okay, exactly. Police reportedly served dozens of search warrants as part of the larger investigation. They searched beyond the ordinary boundaries of a house, including examination of the property's sewer system.
Yeah. That tells us investigators believe there could be evidence outside of what was immediately visible. It does not tell us by itself what they ultimately found or what it means. I think because look, the barrels of the chemicals had like
Right.
piping. He had like rearranged the piping in the house to make these barrels work with whatever he had going on. So whatever he was dissolving down, they looking for like, the remnants.
And that is why we want to stay grounded in the language investigators use: a search, an evidence review, a death investigation, and unanswered questions. The next clip shows the scale of the law enforcement response at the house. You will see the exterior of the property, evidence teams, and the ongoing search operation.
After nearly 2 months, police announced the first significant development in the mysterious case surrounding this home on the 400 block of West 2 Avenue in Olney, and the person who lived there, 44-year-old Eugene Horsch. But they say the investigation is far from over.
That first hard drive is maybe 5 to 7% of what we have to look at.
But that small amount of digital evidence recovered from inside the home already uncovered links to 2 women who have been missing for years. Police say they found images and videos appearing to show the women deceased in the home. They've been identified as Maribel Fresses, who disappeared in 2018 at the age of 27, and Gabriela Amarando, who was reported missing in 2012 when she was 22.
Visually, it is easy for a house to become the main character in the case, but we want to keep bringing this back to the women and families affected by this investigation. The house is a location. The people connected to it are the reason this case matters.
The biggest development came when homicide detectives began reviewing evidence recovered from the property's digital devices. Police said they recovered approximately 600,000 images, 70,000 videos, and more than 10,000 pages of writings, manuscripts, and drawings.
And when those numbers came out, detectives had reportedly only reviewed a small fraction of the total material. So imagine that. A case can change because of one file, but investigators may still have hundreds of thousands or even more files left to examine. First of all, let's just pause. Because 600,000 images?
The first thing I think is, where is he storing those? Are they paper, like on paper images?
He's got one of those homemade, like, desktops that runs on a car engine, and that's where he's storing all of this, because I don't know where else he could have stored.
Are you saying seriously?
No, I made all of that up. Made all of it up.
I think it's so hard. Like, the computer that runs on a car.
It runs on a car engine. You know how much storage you gonna have on that desktop?
That's right. Oh my God, that's
great
funny.
storage.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a dog. Police said that on the first hard drive reviewed, detectives located images and videos that appeared to show 2 women up. Go lay down. Go. Police said that on the first hard drive reviewed, detectives located images and videos that appeared to show 2 women alive, followed by material that appeared to show them deceased. Authorities identified those women as Maribel Fresses and Gabrielle Amarando.
Philadelphia police investigator Ray Evers described the evidence publicly as dark, explaining that detectives saw what appeared to be the women alive, followed by what appeared to be their deaths. The most important legal and factual word there is appeared.
Right. The case does not have access. The public does not have access to those images or videos, and that is appropriate. We will not speculate about their context or repeat graphic descriptions. What matters is that detectives believe that material was significant enough to notify the women's families and open a death investigation. This next clip is from the Philadelphia police briefing. It contains investigators' own explanation of what they say was found on the hard drives. Please note, this topic is emotionally heavy. If you need to skip ahead, take care of yourself.
For investigators, this is an incredibly difficult kind of case. Normally, a homicide investigation may begin with a body, identified victim, a scene, and a medical examiner's findings. Here, police say they have imagery that appears to show 2 women deceased, but they do not have recovered remains.
And without remains, there are limitations. There is no public cause of death. There is no medical finding explaining when or how the women died, and as of the most recent reports, no charges have been filed in connection with their apparent deaths. Now we want to pause here because Maribel Fresses and Gabrielle Amarando deserve more than being remembered as evidence in someone else's investigation. Maribel Fresses was reported missing in 2018 when she was 27 years old. Gabrielle Amarando was reported missing in 2012 when she was 22 years old.
That means their families have lived with uncertainty for years. Years of wondering where they were, years of wondering whether they were safe, years of wondering whether someone knew something and never came forward.
That's horrible. Police said they notified both families after identifying the women in the recovered digital evidence. There is no gentle way to receive that kind of news. Even when a family has feared the worst, they can still be left with a different kind of pain. Information that may suggest an answer, but not the full truth.
No recovery, no confirmed cause of death, no complete timeline, no public explanation of how the women came to be at the house. The investigation may have provided a new direction, but it has not yet provided closure.
This next clip focuses on the people behind the missing person reports. As you listen, remember that the public facts of a case are only one part of what families live with every day.
NBC 10 spoke to the brother of Maribel Frises after police released Wednesday's new information.
My first reaction was just, pure shock. It's been about 8 years or so since I last seen her, and it was just weird hearing that come about. I kind of got into this mode of, I was never going to figure out what happened to her.
We always say this, but it matters. Missing people do not stop being loved because time passes. Their stories do not end because the public stops paying attention.
The investigation has also raised questions about whether other missing women could have a connection to the Chew Avenue home. News reporting indicated that police were examining possible links involving Amy McHale, who disappeared in 2016, and Blair Tonzelli, who was reported missing in 2018.
But we need to handle that with a lot of care. A possible investigative connection is not the same as confirmation that a person was in the home, harmed there, or connected to the evidence police have already reviewed.
Exactly. Police have asked members of the public to come forward if they have been inside 417 West Chew Avenue, know about the activity at the home, or believe a missing loved one could be connected to the property.
For families with missing loved ones, seeing a case like this in the news can be terrifying, but police asking for tips is part of how investigators build a full picture. Sometimes it is a neighbor's memory. Sometimes it is a person who visited years ago. Sometimes it is a name, a date, a photo, or a message that did not seem important at the time.
Right. It's worth saying that a tip does not need to feel dramatic to matter. Investigators may be trying to determine the identities of people in images, dates of events, relationships between individuals, or even the source of an object found in the house. The next clip discusses how the inquiry widened beyond the initial arrest and why police are asking people with information about the property to speak up.
Have been recovered.
This has turned into a death investigation. Again, will be protracted. This is taking all the energy of some really, really senior detectives in homicide to solve exactly what's going on here.
Now, police say this investigation is going to take some time. They say out of all that digital evidence that they found and recovered, they've only reviewed about 7% of it, but they are asking for the public's help if anybody knows anything about those missing women. In Olney, Johnny Archer, NBC 10 News.
If you have direct information related to the property or this investigation, Philadelphia police have asked the public to contact the homicide unit at 215-686-3334 or submit a tip through 215-686-TIPS, which is 8477.
So let's circle back to Eugene Horsch, because this is where online conversation can become inaccurate very quickly. Horsch is 44 years old and was associated with the West Chew Avenue property. He remains in federal custody on charges related to alleged firearm possession and an unlawfully produced identification document or authentication feature.
And to repeat this one more time, because it is important, he has not been publicly charged in connection with the deaths investigators are examining.
That does not mean the death investigation is over. It means that police and prosecutors are still reviewing evidence, and the public record does not show homicide charges as of this episode.
A lot of viewers will hear the phrase House of Horrors, see the footage, hear the evidence inventory, and want an immediate answer. But a responsible investigation has to move at the speed of proof.
And that is especially true in a case that may depend heavily on digital forensics. Investigators will need to establish whether files are authentic, when they were created, where they were stored, who had access to them, who appears in them, and how the digital evidence relates to the people and property involved.
That can take time, a long time. 600,000 images is a lot to have to go through, and that's just the pictures.
Right.
And while that work is happening, it is not helpful or fair to turn speculation into fact. This is also a good reminder that true crime is not just about what sounds suspicious. It is about what can be verified, charged, tried, and proven.
So, what do investigators still need to know? A lot. They need to identify the people in the photos and videos, and they need to determine when specific recordings were made. And that is because the father, I believe, is his father
Mhm.
that lived there before made those videos.
Yeah.
So, and some of them, they acted out violent. So they need to determine, is this stuff from back then when he was recording that, or are these things that he did, that
Right.
this Horsch did? And they need to determine whether the digital files were altered, transferred, copied, or created at the property.
They need to connect physical evidence to digital evidence. They may need laboratory results on substances recovered from the home. They may need witness statements from people who are at, near, or connected to the property. And they may need someone who has stayed silent for years to finally come forward.
Yeah, and they also need to determine whether the case involves only the two women police have identified or whether there are additional victims, witnesses, or missing person cases connected to the property. That part is not publicly answered.
And we are not going to answer it for them. We will follow the verified developments and update this case if police release new information, court documents are filed, or families choose to share more.
Right. And Zaylee, I think this is one of those cases where people can become focused on the disturbing items, the evidence counts, the unknown substances, the number of videos.
Yeah, and forget the human part.
Yes, there are women who were missing. There
Yeah.
are families who went years without answers. There are investigators who now have a massive amount of material to work through. And there's a difference between following a case and consuming it.
Right, that is such a good way to put it. We can be interested in a case without treating the victim's pain like entertainment. We can discuss the unanswered questions without inventing answers, and we can recognize how unsettling the evidence is without making the most sensational version of the story the only version.
Right, because the most important thing here is not the label people give the house. The most important thing is whether Maribel, Gabrielle, and any other person possibly connected to this investigation received truth, accountability, and dignity.
Right. And whether someone out there who knows something hears this and realizes the smallest detail may matter. It really is. It's crazy how, like, something
Mm-hmm.
tiny can blow the
Right.
case open. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
case is even harder because, I mean, it's hard. It is such a hard case to not just be like, oh, yeah, he's guilty. Because when you look at him, you look at like his past, the stuff that he already has going on, he just looks guilty. And then
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he has all this physical evidence. The only thing that I could think of, if it was not him who did something to the actual girls, like he wasn't the one who killed them, he was a weirdo who was on some part of the dark web buying all of this stuff off of the internet,
Possible.
and that's how he has all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or he could have been on the other side of that, and he could have been the person making the material and selling it. It could have ended up in some situation where he was trying to do stuff like his dad was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they participated and their family don't know about anything. It could be something like that. We really don't know. It's
Right.
so much we don't know. It looks horrible.
It does. It does. Then it's important because then, I mean, he's already been arrested, so on totally different charges, but people's names start getting ran through, the internet, and they're guilty before the court ever has a chance to look at it.
Right.
And as of this recording, Philadelphia police are continuing their death investigation related to the Chew Avenue property. Authorities have identified Maribel Frestas and Gabrielle Amorondo in the digital material they recovered, but neither woman's bodies have been found, and no one has been charged in connection with their apparent deaths.
Eugene Horsch remains in federal custody on separate charges related to firearm and allegedly unlawful documents and credentials. His federal case and the death investigation are distinct, and we will continue to make that distinction as this story develops. If this episode was difficult for you, please take a moment after it ends, get some water, step away from the screen, text somebody you love.
And thank you so much for being here with us. If you found this case informative, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may want to follow this case, and leave a respectful comment below.
Yes, because we definitely want to hear your opinions on this
I'll
one.
love it.
What side of the
Yes.
story do you think this guy is on? What do you think he had going on with those barrels of chemicals that he had
Right.
piping and tubing coming out of? What do you think the
Mm-hmm.
police found in the sewer?
Right. This is like one of those old school cliffhangers. And
And
what
the
do you
crazy
think?
part, right? What do you think is on the 600,000 images, the
Thousand
70,000 videos? And what did he say? The other crazy thousands of
seven.
manuscripts,
Yes,
drawings. First of all, what kind of drawings could you have that they're considering this evidence?
right. Your mind can go crazy with this. When we want to hear your theories, want to hear what you're thinking, what you think is going to come next. Let's
Yes.
discuss it. We respond, we react to our comments as soon as we see them. So,
Yes. We appreciate y'all's time, and we will see you next time, co-conspirators.
and until then, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye.
Toodaloo.